what are we breaking down today? We're breaking down Wook Blaster and we're breaking down Warning, and we're gonna actually start off with Warning on this. So this is like some 128 Wakan weird bass shit. Um, this track is definitely very minimal. You guys will see when we break it down. Unfortunately, this project isn't as organized as my projects typically are, but like you guys can just like shoot questions as they come, and we can run through it. Wook Blaster is like straight that project's like organized to a T, so that one will be a little bit easier, but this one will be a little bit more so easy to see like creative process and stuff, just to see like the mind behind everything. So I guess with that being said, let's kick this off. I'll start playing this track from the top. Let me just double check and make sure. Yep, okay, cool. All right, let's get it. Shoes.
This is an attack warning. This is an attack warning.
Yeah, and then we kind of outro it with that ominous, little horn alarm sound, and yeah. So let's fire off questions, whatever you guys. I'll start looking through some of these, but like just like shoot questions and we'll hack away with them one at a time. Let's see. Where do you find all these glitchy intro sounds and make them fit together so well? So I really like to just find like ambiances and stuff like that. So like we can kind of like go through like just like alien jungle insects. I have no idea where this came from, but just like finding like an ambiance that's just like a basic kind of like, whether it be like water or like beach sound or like crickets or wolves howling and like just like stuff like that is just like really cool stuff to like just start with as like a basis of sound that like you can kind of start setting your theme up for your track. So I like really like to start with like things like that. This particular track with like the warning thing, I usually start a track from the intro, like literally right from the first hit of it, like the first, like right from there, and that's what like starts the story almost of it, and then as it like progresses, like go on. I have not like started a track where I've just made literally the drop and then I've like gone through and like started the intro. I feel like it's just like really complicated for me, so this is like kind of my process. So it did start with like these, like this ambiance sound, and then just like this like alarm that was just, and I think this was just from like a Splice pack. They've got a lot of like, if you go in and dig on Splice, they'll have like things that'll be like sci-fi or like industrial, like kind of getting away from like the artist series packs and like more so just like the Foley and like sound packs and stuff like that. So like I'll start to get like an ambiance, and then I'll start to get like something that's like a recurring kind of thing like that. And then from there I start just like hinting in like different. So then I put this like sub underneath like the roll, like the alarm. And started matching that, and then let's see, just like some crackles. So what I like to do is like maybe like in an intro thing, like every like 4 bars you kind of like switch it up with like some different Foley. So like I started off with like the crackle thing, and then obviously it goes from that into like this, like some different textures. So like maybe like every 4 bars I'll switch like different textures and stuff, just to keep like the intro kind of like flowing and just like a little bit more interesting. I like to do like intros like basically how you'd hear like someone would score a movie almost, like if there's like an impact, or if there's something that happens, something kind of changes and kind of like gets your attention in a different way and whatnot. And you can see from there I switched it now to my tag laugh that I use in every single track, and then cut that out to something else, and then it'll go and introduce into the build and whatnot. So that's kind of like how, just like having like transitioning sections almost, where it just like kind of like completely flips. So that'll be the glitchy intro sounds. The layering to fill out. Okay, let's see. Your layering of bass line, is there a specific process when you're choosing which ones sits in the middle and fill out the frequency, and which ones push the stereo imaging? Okay, so I'd say for like when I do a lot of tracks, like this track, like Lottie, a lot of tracks that I do, I start with my drums, initially get my rhythm and like what I'm gonna rock with on that. So for this, so like those are like some big dramatic drums, so that gives me like a basis of it. And then from there I went and used a sub. Let's see. Which, for this track, where do we have the original sub? So usually what I do is I'll like find a sub that I like. It's right here. So that was it. It was just an 808, and with a lot of erosion on it. So what I like to do from there is I'll duplicate that sub and then start just adding different like layers to it per se. So like here I duplicated it obviously and resampled it, and all I did was I just, like you can see right here, I just cut out like the low mid frequencies and then put isotope trash, which created like this weird alarm thing. So like I really
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer in every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
like when you take the sub of it and then resample that and then just like creative resample different layers of it to almost like fill the frequency spectrum. Because it almost like keeps it natural because you're like still sampling that same sub, but you're just like adding different layers and stuff and sometimes different movements and like so like this track that it created that wah, like ominous sound. And then we get to this other layer where I took the same thing you can see and did the exact same like EQ with isotope trash. And also let me know when I'm doing isotope trash, I really have no idea what the fuck any of this stuff does. I just kind of go through presets and see what works and sounds good. So this is all like just experimental and just like hopefully it works out. Then it's just putting the auto pan on it and giving it that little bit of movement. So what I like to do is like once I get like a layer like that, I'll usually duplicate it and make another one that has the same like movement pattern. So these two things are working sitting on top of it while the subs also like has that drone and like whoa, that's just like riding it. So it gives it like the movement still, and I don't know. So that's how usually I like do those kind of things, the bass stuff. It's usually the same bass, just resampled or just like messed up, like little movement here, a little different. What are the metallic beeps at 41? Okay, so let's see. So this was a sample, I think, off Splice. I don't know if there's like a metallic beep. What is it? This is just another layer that's just in there. Pretty quiet. I know to like add like the B section of this first drop, I added that like hissy noise, which was just like a serum sound that I have like used in a lot of tracks. It's like a very high pitched thing. But I went through and kind of just did some different processing. I've used this in a lot of projects. I've used like my collab with Ask. This is the first time I used it was in that, and then from there I just dragged it in here and resampled it. Just basically some EQing, frequency shifter, isotope trash, and this center plugin is kind of like, it's really nice for like organizing things, I guess, like in more of a mono perspective, because you can see I've got like the center of the sound pushed up and you can actually turn down the sides of it and control the highs and the lows to just really like control the stereo shape of it, whatnot. So that was like the B section thing. Siren sound, that was just a sample I just found online. Dropper intro first. Can you show how you fill out the mix while keeping stuff minimal? Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, a lot of this was just based with the drums, honestly. Like, because these are just, like, very dramatic drums. Just... like, that reverse going into there is very, very loud. Like, most of my tracks, I'd never have anything like that loud going on, but... So definitely like big drums, very, very important. That like carries this, and then just that simple bass pattern, and then just like layering it was kind of what filled out the frequency and whatnot of it. I noticed that you don't have a lot going on in your breaks. Yeah, I don't. I mean, like I don't have a lot. I mean, like breaks as in like breakdowns. I'd assume that you're saying like I I don't know, like I think for like doing breakdowns and whatnot, I just like to make things extremely like mixable. It's just very convenient too as a DJ when you like have tracks that have simpler breaks and whatnot instead of some crazy. But when it gets like very melodic, like don't get me wrong, it's awesome. But like when you're playing out like bass music and transitioning fast and trying to like keep the energy going, like just having minimal builds is very, very helpful. So that's like something I've always kept in mind. Obviously everyone's music's different, but like that's just for the bass music that I'm trying to accomplish. That's what I've done. Are you using Ableton's hip hop sub generator? No, I'm not, but I do use it quite often. I love Operator. I think it's awesome. I do a lot of tracks with that. For this track, no, it was just this, let's see. And the erosion's real. It's just like I guess you could say it's an 808. It's just like a sub hit. Don't exactly know where I found this. I think like at one point I was like trying to do like some sort of like like alien kind of themed thing, so I just like dug the shit out of Splice and found like just space related samples, and I think that's where I kind of like originally came up with the concept for this track per se. But yeah, that was the sub on that. It wasn't the Ableton. How do you process your drums? So I kind of went over this the last time I did Fire Studio, and this is exactly the same send racks that I had, and I still use to this day. I think I'm gonna like start flipping some things around, but my drums are all audio. I used to do a lot more MIDI, but it's easier to control on here. So what I do is I have a kick drum compressor that is just like a stock Ableton thing, and then I have a snare compressor that's like a stock Ableton, and what I do is I just send this 100% into the kick compressor, and then whatever my main snare is on this project, I believe it was right here, and I just sent that 100% into the snare compressor, so you can see that. So yeah, I basically just parallel compress the drums, the main kick, the main snare. The rest of it I just kind of do to taste. So I've got this like compression bus here that is just basically a parallel compression, and basically anything in the track that I want to just beef up a little bit, I just send into there. As you can see, like it's my last thing here, and just look at whatever drum wise I need to like. You can hear, and I've got a lot of stuff going into there. I've got drums, I've got sub basses, I've got whatever I just want to fatten up, I just send into there. So that's basically my compression. Go over the kick. This kick is just like, is it Drezzo kick? This kick is like stupid punchy. Like traditionally I would not use a kick like this because it like has a lot of low end and stuff, and I kind of just went with it. I don't get like too nitpicky when it comes to like kicks and snares if they're like effective at what they like at doing whatever, at doing the job. I don't really like sit there and like fuck with it too much. Like you can see, like I have no processing. I usually just drop a kick sample in, and if anything I just send it into that compressor. This one's like really big. I could have rolled low end off of it and probably cleaned it up, but it just like sounded good with the bass and just dramatic and punchy, so went with it. Isn't that how trash works? Oh, 40. Okay, let's see. The dung dung dung. Is that? Yeah, so this was just a bass pluck. And then just obviously, same thing. There's not even, just EQing on here. And then also I use this rectifier plugin that I'm just using to, the rectifier basically just adds a little bit of like top grit to it. Like if you hear this without it, like here, just adds a little bit of crunch to it. So that is that. The 44.4. Oh, these glitch things. Okay, so these kind of like glitch sounds. There is a, I don't even know that this is. Yeah, there's just like a, as you can see, there's no processing on it. I literally just go on Splice and just search glitch, and you'll just find like little glitches and stuff. And I think for like little tiny like fill-ins and stuff like that, that's what I really like to find, like little glitches, just like random shit, and just drop it in and like see if it works and like goes with the flow. If it doesn't, pull it out, drop another glitch in. Who knows? You're gonna get some sort of like creative weird rhythm. It's obviously gonna be like, off the grid and shit. So that's how I get a lot of those kind of sounds. Do you use Groove Pool? No, I haven't used Groove Pool since like I started using Ableton. I really don't even know if I know how to use it anymore. How do I make that hi-hats transient sharper? It's just basically sending it through that parallel compressor with the hi-hats, just basically beefing them up a little bit. I don't like to get too crazy with hi-hats. It's all about balance, but I also like separate everything in the mix. Or like try to listen to my drums by themselves, and then I'll try to listen to my drums with my sub bass, and then I'll try to listen to the drums and the sub bass, and then like my mids and top, like mid layers on top of it and whatnot, and just like seeing all the different relationships in between the different things. Are you automating the gain through the whole song? Yeah, so I am. You can see right here on this track, I have the gain turned down considerably, like not considerably, like 2 dB, basically in the intro parts, and then I have it hitting at 0 dB during the drops, just so it's like the most impactful part, and just so bass music. Build it up, you drop it, and obviously the drop's the hardest part of it. So if you have that just turned up a little bit more, it's more impactful. So let's see, what's your go-to plugins to edit sound? Right, I mean, it's Isotope Trash for sure. I love Frequency Shifter, just the Ableton one. The Kilohertz one's really good too. I really like that. Let's see. I really like Thermal right now. I think that's kind of like almost like a predecessor of Trash, kind of. There's like a lot of really cool presets you can scroll through and get some cool shit. I like Portal. Portal's kind of all over the fucking place for granular synthesis. I mean, a lot of these things, I really don't know how they do things, but they're easy ways to go through presets and take a cool sound and make it into a cooler sound that you've never heard before. And for like the experimental sound design process, they're awesome. So that's kind of the go-tos right now. Let's see, Imposters. Yes. Methods for resampling a sound. Let's see. Well, I mean, traditionally, a lot of the music that I've made has been like me resampling whatever my bass is, my sub bass. So like basically me resampling sine waves and whatnot. And what I mean by that is basically I'll intro my song, build it, drop it, and the drop is going to just be drums, and I just like sit there and I just solo the drums, and I make sure that it's like something that I can like sit there and like vibe to. And then after that, I really like to put my sub underneath those drums and where my sub is going to react with those drums, because obviously that relationship between the kick drum and the sub bass is so important. So I like will put my sub and just like do it in audio most of the time. I guess when we go through Wook Blaster in the next track will be one of the times that I didn't use audio, and I actually did use the Ableton hip hop sub, so we'll go into that. But most of the time I'll take the sub and I'll just take like a simple sine wave and just start. In this track, this was an 808 that I used, and then just duplicating it and just doing something different to it, like rolling off the low end and then just distorting the high end, and then that creates a sound, and then you duplicate that again, and then you like create movement on that sound and then resample it to another way. So then now you've got like your sub bass, you've got some sort of like mid-high layer, and now you've got some sort of movement layer that's sitting on top of it, but it's all resampled from the same sound. So it comes from that, so it almost like is cohesive just because it comes from the same basis of it. So that's kind of that. Obviously, there is no, with like my resampling method, and I think a lot of like artists that you see like more so in the experimental bass sound, there's no exact method to the madness of it. It's just like sitting there and just trying different things until you get some good takes, and then going from there, which obviously can be extremely rewarding but also extremely frustrating when you're like spending so much time doing that. My sidechain process, seriously, it's all it is I have a kick drum with a rim shot, and as you can see, it's not even on. It's just something with a quick transient. If I turned it on, let's see, you just hear that, just something with a quick transient. It's not even on. It's just a ghost channel here. I have got the audio off, and then everything, including my all my sends and stuff are just sent to it. So nothing crazy there. The whole sidechain thing, like, don't beat yourself up about it. Keep it simple. Whatever works. No volume shaper. I've like literally beat my head on a wall trying to figure out how to like route that thing, and I think I'm just an idiot and can't figure it out. What kind of music do you listen to on your free time? Do you avoid? I do avoid listening to bass music on my free time. Most of my free time music is I listen to rap, lots of rap music, and like
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Yeah, some just mostly rap. I think there's like rap and hip hop stuff. I just like think that like hip hop music in general is like such a creative genre, and always has been. And it's always been something that's like they've never neglected any different genres to take interest from. So it's always constantly evolving and whatnot. And really like like what dudes like Ghostmane are doing with like metal and that, tying that in and creating some cool sounds and whatnot. But yeah, obviously like all like the Suicide Boys, all that stuff kind of stemmed from the whole 3 6 Mafia sound, horrorcore rap shit, which has always been very influential on the music that I make with my bass music shit. Do you have any advice for finishing tracks? We are close but not fully complete. Man, that is tough. Like, I can tell you right now that like getting into the business of finishing tracks is one of the best things that I can recommend on this entire stream. Like, being consistent. I have known so many producers that are so fucking talented and that just can't get to that like closing period and like finishing and we're making music at the end of the day, and if you want to like make a career out of this, you just have to like realize like you have to be like a finisher when it comes to like getting those tracks done. So I know it's tough sometimes though to like cross that threshold, but sometimes you just gotta push through and be confident in what you have, and the more and more you do it, obviously the more comfortable you get with it, but just like really pushing through. I think like when I tell people kind of like something kind of like I learned about that stuff when I started making music, and like to recommend for people beginning, like even if you're just making like a rap beat or something, just finish it and then start something new, and then finish that and then start something new, rather than becoming like the 8-bar loop producer. Like becoming a finisher is going to be where you want to go in the end. Kilo Hearts is indeed lit. How did you decide on your watermark signature sample? So that was in a like pack, and I don't know, I just heard it, and it was kind of like, obviously, like I said, I'm like very influenced by hip hop, and like a lot of the producers in there obviously tag their shit, so that was me. I wanted to tag my stuff, so I didn't want to do it like a big vocal sample or anything. I almost wanted to keep it more subtle, so I had like the creepy laugh as like the intro thing, and then using the horse noise was definitely something different that I just mess around with, and that's in Wook Blaster, and we'll go through that and whatnot. Yeah, what inspired the horse noise? The horse noise, honestly, like I'll go through with Wook Blaster. It was just like me going through, because I just go through random sample packs to like find exactly how like that glitch noise on that turnaround and whatnot, just like mess with that. I just threw a horse noise in there, and then I'll go through the whole story of Wook Blaster and whatnot, and how that song came to be in the name and whatnot. So. Show some tips. Let's go over the second. Yeah, we'll so I think the frequency shifter comes more into play on the second drop. So you guys wanted to see some of the wub design on the second drop. Let's go through that.
This is an attack warning.
So this is exactly same thing. How I said that I like take a sub note and I'll just like use fades and stuff to kind of like move just like the pattern around. So it originally started with this and then duplicated it. And so this was just a dramatic EQ curve with like the isotope trash. And one of my favorite things to do is to basically put a white noise and then just like mimic the fades of the sub bass on it, so it almost just like creates some like crunchy layers, so if someone didn't have like some fat subs or anything, they'd still be able to like know what the hell was going on. And so this basically is the same sub. I just basically duplicated it and split the time in half to make it just whoop, 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 whoop. So very simple pattern, just like the simple slow whoop, the boom, 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 just like creating that call and response back and forth. But it's the same exact technique as the first drop. It's a sub layer, duplicated just to create some like different layers and stuff. Someone's asking. Yeah, so with the Sully click track, the gritty The gritty bass, it's all just I don't know exactly which one you're talking about. Like if you're talking about like the main drop thing, that was just a whatchamacallit. That was a complete accident. That whole that horn sound in the Sully thing, I opened the project that he sent me and he had like started the sound design on it and I had not updated Serum and it went to an init patch and then all the processing sent an init patch and created like a horn. So that's how that song came to be. So alright, any useful cool racks we can see. Man, I don't use like much stuff like racks for processing. Like I don't have any like custom racks like a lot of producers have. Stuff like that. I kind of like tailor my sound more so. I use like my sense to kind of like mix everything down, and then the sounds up here is just kind of like experimenting, and if there's something that I like, I'll bounce it down to audio. Any tips on getting flow variation on the second drop or B section of the drop? So I usually don't like switch. I prefer like doing like 16 bar drops just because like when you're playing stuff out live, I think like 32, unless you're like very good at like shifting things up and keeping it very interesting production wise. I just like prefer the 16 bar drops, but usually so like for this B section I just like introduce some quicker hats and then introduce like some just that high pitched little thing. And then I think for the second drop I just changed the rhythm up a little bit on the like the B section, like the just to keep it flowing. But yeah, I mean like the B section, it's like I still kind of keep it, introduce a few new sounds here and a little bit of different rhythms, and yeah, that's pretty much that. Do I use the Ableton drum bus? Yeah, I've like. It's been exclusively those Ableton drum buses. Love them. Super simple. Super chill. So, I think if there is any more questions on this song in particular, if you guys could hit me with it, and then, because we have got a couple more minutes and then we're going to switch it up and get into Wook Blaster and start breaking that one down. So, yeah, fire away if you guys got some more stuff. For EP's third-party master, so this track was on an EP. So I actually just went through and just turned things down, so there was like about a -6 of headroom. My most recent EP that I have coming out, I did all the mastering. So I kind of went back on that, which like I used to be like, yeah, you know, it's nice if you have an EP to have a professional master kind of master down so everything's cohesively like sound level. Sometimes when they master stuff like that, I don't know, it's not as loud and crunchy. I don't like sometimes like a professional master is like awesome, especially like in a like when you have a vocalist and stuff like that. Like I'd much rather prefer that. But on the more EDM side of things, I kind of just like think of like loud, overcompressed, big noises are cool. But let's see. Serum patches. Yeah, I don't have any serum patches because I've literally used serum one time in like everything that I've made in the last 3 years. It's all exclusively just like audio resampling and resampling original sample or just like samples and stuff from Splice. So I don't even know if I have anything that I've even made on Serum. Like, so. Do you produce with a call and response in mind? Yeah, I kind of like, definitely do have like some call and response in mind. I kind of just like, I like to, like, so my music may not be like the most melodic or something, but it's something that you can almost like mouth out. So it's like keeps it simplistic. It's even like Babatunde was just like boom chuk ba, like it's just like simple things. And like for this track, you just got like the boom 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 boom, just like simple things that you can like. Simple rhythms and stuff like that you can mouth out in your head. It just like helps stick, especially when it doesn't have like the melodic value that some tracks may have, like in a call and response basis. So that's definitely that. And what do you do? What do I do when I'm not creatively inspired? When I'm not creatively inspired to write music, I usually step away for a little bit. And usually like when I step away, it's either just like playing video games, just going outside, working out, longboarding, traveling like to northern Michigan. I just like move around a little bit. I don't know, just like get yourself out of the same place. When you're just like sitting in one spot all the time, kind of like constantly drilling shit in and trying to do shit, it like sometimes you hit that roadblock, you're like, I can't get out of this. It's like, well, you just need to kind of get out of it to get back into it. So that's kind of like give yourself a break. You don't have to like, I understand it's like very like a competitive nature, and you're always like feeling like you have to like try to catch up with someone that's like working and whatnot. But like at the end of the day, you need to let yourself and learn yourself and to like know when to breathe and whatnot, and to like to have your creativity constantly. Everyone has a different creative process. Like some people are machines, they're psychos. They can just sit there, they can work all day, and like shouts out to them. That's like absolutely, that's not for me. I have to like take breaks. Sometimes I'll like be like, okay, guess what? I just walk away from Ableton for like 2 weeks. I come back way hungrier than I ever was before. I'm just like, oh, and then I sit down and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how much I love doing this. And then that's when I like write really well. So it's just like finding your own process, and it's like very, very important. That comes with this whole journey. All right, let's see. Yeah, about writer's block, that's like exactly the same exact thing. All those things apply to that. Do I gain stage? No, not. I mean, to some extent. I mean, it's just doing things to ear. Just like I gain stage just from the audio in here, and that's just like whatever goes through the master into whatever I have as my mastering chain. Also, my mastering chain, there's no end-all, cure-all master chain. I can tell you all, like, it's you use your master chain to tighten things up and to address problems that are needed once you are more so at the ending stage of that track. So that's not the same for every single track. So obviously, roll with it as you may. How do I know when the layering's done? I mean, obviously don't want to overlayers things. I think like if you can just get away with having like maybe like 4 to 5 layers tops, and that are all doing something different and working in different frequency ranges, that's a good number to have. That's been pretty consistent with most of the tracks where I've gone through that layering war with. What would I say for someone struggling with a theme of a song? So I'd say like if you are trying to figure out a theme of a song and you are trying to find like an identity with yourself and your brand and stuff, one of the absolute best ways to do that is just to go and take a moment to think about like what do you like really fuck with? What do you really like? Like almost make like a mood board like, oh, I like video games. I like these kind of video games. I like this kind of music in the video game. I like these kind of movies. Like you can go through and pinpoint all these like different things and then draw from those different things, and whether it be sample them or just like figure out, maybe watch a video of whoever created that, like just like them talking about it or something, and just kind of like get in between, like get inside of their minds and whatnot, and kind of figure out what makes you tick, and then take that and then put it into your music, because that's the best way that you can make music that is yours personally and that people resonate with, because it's obviously 100% honestly you. So that's what all I have to say for like theme of it. And so like in saying that, like I said, like the hip hop, like the horrorcore stuff, I'm like, I watched lots of horror movies. Like this time of year, I'm just like, when they've got like the AMC horror bonds just going on, I'm just watching that shit all the time. But yeah, like that stuff is what inspires me. So that's why I've drawn from those themes, and just recommend that you all find what makes you tick. So yeah. So I think on that note, I think it's a good time that we switch up and go into Wook Blaster. And go start cutting up that project. It's a lot more organized. I can, break down, open up whatever you guys want to see. We can do the damn thing. So do that right now. Man, favorite horror movie? That's really hard to say. That's like, it's like asking me like what my favorite food is. I love all the 80s horror movies, obviously, because that was just like golden era. Like I really love like all the Friday the 13th until it, got to like Friday the 13th 8 and started to get real whack. But like obviously the classics, I like Hellraiser's fucked. There's a lot of new school stuff. I loved, man, I used to be like just ride or die for Rob Zombie, but the last couple things he's had hasn't been resonating with me as much. But yeah, lots of music. Can you explain how we're able to get to your... So I think get music out organically. So I kind of tried to do like a bunch of label stuff. I'll answer these questions and then we'll start this track. We got these 3 questions. But I think like when I started to do music, I like wanted to think like, oh, label. And so obviously you reach out to these big labels, they're not going to reach out back to you. Like they're kind of got in mind what they want. Like these bigger labels, they when they find artists that they like, or bigger artists per se, bigger labels per se, they've got these artists that they kind of have in mind that are going to like benefit the label. Like it's got to be a win-win process for both parties, like for the artist and the label. And so like having someone that's just completely out of the blue, unless their music just absolutely game changing, it's not gonna work out just like that. So I think like I kind of like learned that a little bit, and then started just releasing music myself, just on my personal like SoundCloud and whatnot. And I think like this was really the track that I put on my personal like just page, just like dropped it. Like this wasn't on a label or anything, and this is what was one of those tracks that really like got picked up by some like bigger artists and started getting supported and whatnot. And when people like look back and saw like, oh wow, like he just put this out on his own and it just got picked up, and then that's literally when label started coming to me and like had a little bit of interest, and that's around that time period. That was like when I linked up with like the Wakan fam and whatnot. So kind of like putting your own impact, like imprint on music just by putting something out on your own, that's just like opens up a lot of doors. So you don't need a label to get to that point. Like I'm very like I'm label is where I'm happy at right now, but like to get there, like do your own thing. If you can shine on your own, then labels are going to be all over you. That's all I'm saying. What do you think the best way is to level up? Level up doing exactly what you're doing right now. Just like listening and talking to people that have leveled up per se in their own music and whatnot, and have been like able to have the same goals in the back of, you know, their head that you have in your head. And like I think there's a lot that goes in with like just like listening to like people that are successful in what you do, and also things outside of what you do creatively, like obviously people in other lanes of music, people in directing, film, creative different lanes, just like learning from them, writers. You know, I've learned a lot. Like one of the super inspirational things was just watching like the like little YouTube documentary about Stephen King, just like about his life and whatnot, and just like picking through people that are like have had creative dreams that have made them a reality. So I think that's like one good thing, and then obviously spending the time doing it. One piece of production advice that you wish you knew earlier. Don't get too caught up in what you make right off the rip, because everyone's like very proud of what they make right when they start producing, and they're like, I made this. And like, you know, like especially when you get into that first initial area of like being creative and whatnot, is just not being too emotionally invested in that, because like at the end of the day, like looking back, you'll always know that that wasn't your best work, but at that time you're like, wow, this is like something I'm really proud of. And just to like continue to move forward and just be humble and continue to like progress and just be content with everything that you make, but just not like at that, in those early stages, hold on to things too tightly. When you finish a track, when do you usually release it? That's a different, that's obviously for people in every different stage of their careers. For me personally, I have a track, I make it, I like to tease it out at shows live. I try to get like, you know, people to record it, get videos, things like that. You know, it just creates more content for when you do. I also send it to like also good, you know, producer friends that are playing big shows and whatnot. If they like it, they'll support it, and like to kind of like naturally create a buzz with that before I get to a point where I release. I think that's like a very interesting question, especially like nowadays. You see this like argument between like artists that are releasing music and some that aren't releasing music. And like some people aren't releasing music because they feel that like the music doesn't have that same impact, considering there's a lot live shows going on like there was. And obviously this music's like built more so for that environment. And it's been kind of something I've been like, the songs that I have been releasing have kind of been stuff that I've played out live and have gotten that stuff. But once those songs are out, I think it's going to be like a little bit of a sit down period where I just spend writing and kind of building up that until we do get to that threshold where I can start doing the same process. So, for drums, yeah, I mean, like, I kind of went through the drum kick compressor, snare compressor. It's also just like good sample selection. Like a lot of people beat themselves up about like how to get their drums just like knock harder and stuff, and just like picking a good drum off the rip is just like very, very, very important. So I'm going to, with that, I'm gonna go start this song, and I need to plug in this other laptop so I can see what you guys are saying. So I'm gonna start this song off and then plug this in. Yeah, then fun outro stuff. So you guys got the gist. We can break down and open up anything that you guys want to see on this. I'll get to some of these questions now, though. Any methods on finding signature sound? Man, I have to say that it takes a while to find your signature sound. And I think that every producer in the back of their head has a signature sound that's kind of there, but it's like they open up Ableton for the first time, they're just like, what in the absolute fuck is going on? And it's just getting to that point where you learn Ableton good enough that the idea in the back of your head you can make a reality. So that obviously just takes a lot of time, and that's obviously also comes through like time and just like influence as you go on throughout that. How much do you think about sample selection in your writing process? I'm always kind of just thinking like, what's next? Like, especially since I'm so sample based, I'm not like sitting there and like trying to like sound design things out unless I get to like a certain point. Especially like with this song, it was like a theme, and really what drives this song is like these drum aids section that I have, and it's just little bits of Foley and like all sorts of weird fucking sounds, and this is where the fucking horse noise made its first debut. So just like going through those micro decisions and shit when you're producing, it's just like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do for the next sample, this is what we're gonna do for the next sample. Okay, maybe like something like this. Let's try a bunch of different little glitches and see which one works. So, very important in my process. How can I tell if the song will sound good on multiple systems, including systems you may not have immediate access to? So, you ready for this? This is my little secret go-to thing. So on every single track, I have one of the monos. I think I may have briefed on this on my last Defire workshop. But I just use the mono, this like Ableton mono, just like, where is it? Boom, utility, drag it on here. Key mapped it to the P key. You can see right here, master, mono, boom. So as I'm going through the track, I'm switching back and forth between stereo and mono. A lot of big systems, obviously, where this kind of music would be played out are in mono systems. And usually when you're going through the mixing process, if you can get your shit sounding banging and clean in mono, you're going to turn that off, it's going to go stereo, it's going to sound A1. So that's definitely been something that's leveled up my final mastering, making sure things sound good on multiple things. Would you play both drops of this songs in your set, or are you using very minimal second break as essentially the DJ tool? I'm using it as a DJ tool. Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to play the second drop, then I would literally just like take this song, chop out that little like breakdown part, and go right into the build. Just so it was like kind of like a quick like intro, build drop, like kind of thing. If I wanted to play both of them, just so I didn't air it out like that. But yeah, I use it more so as a DJ tool. I think that's like one thing that's like really helped my music get played out. I mean, it's just been like the ease of DJing it. Just simple. Like I send it to artists. They're like, oh, this is easy. I could drop this in and out of a track. Easy. So, we create the layers for the wobble basses. So more of low pass and a high pitch layer. So to fill out like the wobbles, that are just like the higher things, especially like with this track, like that. So this sub, you can see this is just a hip hop sub that I just turned the release on, and this was like the original. So that was the first one, duplicated it, the second sound. This was actually a Serum, and I think I just dropped some random preset on it. It wasn't anything. Let's see, this is just like a rhythm preset. It's not really doing much. Like, the next one, same hip hop sub. So this time added a little bit of the pitch drop to it, so it just has a little bit more mid. And then the last one, I literally just duplicated the MIDI, and then this is the analog. I turned off everything other than the noise oscillator, so it's just like white noise. That's basically layering, little isotope trash, distort it, and then a gate that just like chops it off, basically, like when it. So that was how like I said, like the drums solo. But these drum A's, if we listen to this is really what carries the song. Like these little. Yeah, so those are like really what carries. Those with the drums obviously take the drums from just like a basic drum pattern and kind of just add a lot of more like in and out kind of feeling to them, whatnot. Let's see. Do you layer the Atmos behind in your drop? No. No, I don't have the atmosphere hidden behind here at all. It kind of just like keeps it open. So this is like weird, kind of like a very full intro. Like if you listen to the intro sound.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Yeah, so pretty full cinematic intro kind of feel, and then this song, weird, kind of not as full drop, but like obviously a lot of bass and whatnot. Oh yeah, we can listen to the drums and the drum aids together so you can really hear how those are both working together. Yeah, so that was... Yeah, so those are kind of how those things came together. This track originally was so I had a collab going with Nasty NX STY. He had sent me a track, and basically he had like a majority of it finished, and then he had the second drop, and I just like threw in this like weird, like it was very trappy the rest of the track, but then I like made this whole obviously like experimental weird sounding shit, and it was like so left field it did not even make sense with the song. So I was like, yeah, this is kind of an idea, but I think I'm just gonna like take this and use it as my own. It was all my own sounds and whatnot. So that's what I ended up doing. And originally it was like an edit into, like, I just made it into an edit because I did have the drop. And then so I had to kind of create the intro. So I like made the intro and I sent it to my buddy Company. And when he heard it, he just goes, holy shit, this is such a fucking Wook Blaster. And so like when it came to the track being done, I just went with the name. I was just like, Wook Blaster, that's like awesome. I love it. So that's kind of how it worked out. And then we kind of based the art of this track around the Lucio, because at that time I was playing a lot of Overwatch, and like the Lucio, like sub blaster gun, like the so that was kind of how that all came to be. Yeah, so okay, so that's one good question. Do you take time picking all the samples before you make a song, or do you pick them as you create? I 100% my best work, like getting in the studio and getting shit done, has been from getting samples beforehand. Getting like your palette ready as if you're a painter. So like going through on Splice or whatever, finding a good little pack of samples. You got like maybe an impact, you got like maybe a vocal, you got like some effects that you like, you got some kicks, some snares, maybe some little bass one shots to mess with, that kind of stuff. You got like a little bit of everything to work with. I think that's like one of the best ways to really like kind of theme up your track as well, and like to work faster on it. So you're not just sitting there looking for shit. Did you use Omnisphere for the intro? I believe I did use some Omnisphere. You can see, let's see, we'll go through these sounds. So there's like this, that high pitch, and then there's like that. I believe this is Omnisphere. So a lot of the playable textures in Omnisphere, very, very cool. Just have those kind of drone on. A lot of all these freeze tracks are Omnisphere's things, so really cool cinematic. Just a shaker loop that I found, really cool. My tag, and then the some of that, and then this. I originally had all those like cinematic things. It was kind of cinematic open the same way, almost like Babatunde was. What really like thickened up this shit was I found this little like loop on like vocal buildup thing. And I think it was like in a hardstyle pack or some shit. I don't even remember, but obviously put it in here, repitched it, chopped it up a little bit, not really too much, but and yeah, the rest is. So that is kind of like how the intro noise. There's also like this little kid screaming at a roller coaster park. I use this like subtly in a lot of tracks. Pretty cool. I don't know, just kind of just finding some like subtle things like that and just consistently using them in your track almost like creates more familiarity when people listen to it, which like also helps like curate the whole like what's your sound kind of vibe to things. So yeah, and yes, let's I'll go play the second drop and how like the layering in there came to be. So it's like a mix between these sub and drop synth. Yeah, so believe it or not, a bunch of chopped up Virtual Riot samples. That was how I made the layering up with some like random distortion things, and then doing like some automation stuff. I use the WoW 2 filter on here. So yeah, so that's one way you can take a little synth or like, you know, one shot and like fuck with it a little bit, is like doing a little bit of automation with the VST. Make sure you just optimize this. So that was like that. And then these subs. So a little reduction, a little OTT, a little EQing, getting out some of those like nasty fucking high-end things. Right here, the analog. So, same kind of process, almost just taking a simple sub move and dressing up with a little bit of effects, whatnot. So, yeah. Do you have any specific go-to sample pack? I have literally no specific sample packs that I use for drum stuff, for that kind of thing. I just kind of, whatever sounds good. Something that's just got a little bit of punch, and depends also, like, if I want to make more of like a like dubby track, I'm gonna obviously use a kick drum that's just like a little bit more punchier. And then if I'm gonna make more of like a weird wubby subby kind of thing, I'd prefer to use like more of like a trappier kick, which is kind of like a little bit more left field for the experimental bass shit. But like, yeah. But then again, like if I like make like a dubbier track, I'll use like a punchier kick, but then maybe use like a trap snare or something and kind of like flip flop it. Get a little interesting back and forth kind of thing going on. I recently had someone collab with me, and I've never worked with any before. Do you have any advice for getting involved with your first collab? Yeah. So, dude, collab with people. The best way to like learn how to like start collabing with people and get comfortable with it is to start working with people, because like, I will tell you right now, if like you really want to pursue this music thing, get used to working with people, because like that's like the number one thing. I think like, so some people are like, yo, what's the best way to collab with people? I think like when you're initially kind of like getting in with the collabing thing, I'd assume that you're probably working with someone that's like on a similar skill level as you. And you guys should both use it as like a learning process. And like still to this day, like when I work with bigger producers, it's like I take it as like a learning process. When you sit down and work with someone, like I know some people like to do the whole like, oh, I'll just work on this in my own time and then I'll send you the project and you can work with it on your own time. It's like, yeah, you can get some like really cool results, but I think like the tracks that have had the most traction for me that I've done that have been collabs, like all the stuff I've done with Tynan, the stuff I've done with all the tracks I've done with Peekaboo, we've all done just working face to face, either like in person at the studio, or if you can't do that, what you can do is you can just open up a Zoom call. You can share your audio back and forth. You can just have your project in Dropbox, and like that's how we made like Babatunde. And when you're sitting there working back and forth with somebody on a track, like you can almost like catch them, like be like, hey, stop, like that shit was dope, don't fuck with that, like, and like kind of you can catch producers doing things, and like they can do the same thing to you, because sometimes we all like overthink things and like or like over process or overdo something, and just having that like back and forth thing is really cool. And like I said, you can just watch other people's processes and learn from them, and like that's like a very fast growth method, I think, when it comes to this stuff. Can you alleviate some producers in here that fear they might be called out for using a VR sample in their track one day, or concerned that people be talking trash in the SoundCloud? Okay, so I can tell you that I have used so many VR samples and I've never gotten called out. Just don't drop that in, like like a drop loop or some shit, like, and think that you're like changing, like, and then like, oh, this is mine. Like obviously, like people know what that shit is. Like just doing little subtle things and breaking things down, like, because he is such a good sound designer that you can definitely use these and like all his sounds as a great starting point, or something. You don't even have to like put that crazy of effects on it or anything. Literally just going in and just dragging it in and out with like the tempo of it, and like all of a sudden like his sample's completely different. You've got like something completely different going on. So just be creative with it. With all samples, obviously, like the VR samples are very high profile when it comes to the world of bass music, and people do get a little bit little bit sticky with them. So just be conscious of that, and like always just be creative. You always obviously want to put your own touch on everything anyway. So that's all on that note. Yeah, so yeah, so we got a little bit more time right now. What other questions do you guys got? We can chug through it before we close out tonight. Anything in particular? Anything related to music business or direction of brand or anything in this song or whatever? All right. Let's go through all these little questions while we close out. So I saw like the thing about the frequency shifter, so I'm just gonna like go through some like simple, just some like really basic stuff on frequency shifter that you can just like fuck around with it or like is fun. Okay, I'm just gonna take this. Okay, cool. Got a little sub. Frequency shifter. So first thing with frequency shifter, obviously, if you go to ring mod, you get more of that like. You can do a lot of cool stuff with that. So you can also go to this LFO mode. And if you set this to rate, you now can like shift this. If I go to ring, obviously this is affecting the different frequency. So this is the amount of LFO. Yeah, so just fucking around with that shit can get very wonky. That's just my very short LFO wonkiness thing. And obviously you can do this with a lot of different sounds. But yeah, that's a quick wonky. And then obviously if you find something like that, you resample it. You never know, you may resample it again. Who knows? Make it crazy. Frequency shifter makes it work. Social media, just kind of, I guess with social media, just being like yourself, being 100% honest. Cool. That's the easiest way. Process for saving and organizing projects. You know, it matters how fast I write something. If I write something really fucking fast, I'll tell you right now, it'll be one of those projects that you open up and it'll just be a shit show. There's just stuff all over the place. That's how you know that I finished it fast. If it's super organized, then you know that I worked, like, did a good job, and I definitely hit a roadblock, because once I do have a super messy project where I just like flew for like maybe half of it, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta finish this. One of the easiest ways just to finish it is just to organize the shit out of everything. So you just kind of have a basis of know where to go from where, and kind of like get your roadmap a little bit laid out. I don't even know if I have any of a bunch of the VR samples on here. I don't know if I have enough time to bust a quick flow out with the VR samples. I could probably do that another time though, or something. But that would probably take a little bit. Cool tricks with the simpler instrument. I don't really use a simpler. I don't really know anything too crazy on there. It's pretty much just audio based. Do you ever feel any guilt not designing your own sounds? I mean, if I just take other people's sounds and fuck them up, and like people like think that, I mean, like it gives myself enough of an identity, then they're kind of my sounds at that point. So I don't really like have any issue or guilt. I sleep well every night. Do you use studio monitors or headphones to mix? I usually use both. I usually like to start. If I'm traveling, obviously I'm working in headphones. If I'm at home, I love to start with studio monitors, just bang that shit out loud. But then obviously I'll spend some time just throwing the headphones in late one night and just like kind of cinching things down. And then I usually like to finish it on the monitors and kind of just go back and forth. But I do like to use both at some point of the process. Could you show us a process of how you go about processing the drums? I mean, if you just go back in this video, you'll see I literally just have this drum kit compressor. It's just a stock thing in Ableton. I'm pretty sure you can just search it right up here. Boom, kit compressor. I think this is originally from like Ableton 8. And I just have saved it and continually used it. So if you have like one of the older Abletons, you can use it. Same thing here, kick compressor, snare compressor. Same kind of thing. Just sending them in there when I'm processing sub bass to make it drop. It always sounds the same. I'm using trash in every preset. And, how do you get crazy sounding? So I would just like break up the frequencies of that sub. So maybe like pick a frequency range where you're like a low mid, like a 200 to 250, and then just like spike that EQ up and then just start distorting that. And then you'll get something that's definitely a lot more broken down. Or a lot more interesting, not broken down. I have a ton of videos on Instagram that are low quality snatch if you have Ableton projects. I feel so. What's the best route? So I'd say, dude, if you're literally recording things of like your DAW and stuff, just screen record shit. And I don't know, like what, you don't have to like animate them. Like if it sounds good enough, it's gonna obviously stick. Like people are gonna be like, "Ooh, shit," but you know, a lot of people are posting just like videos of like Rekordbox just playing through, and obviously like that's getting a lot of engagement and whatnot on social media. So I don't think too much about it, but also like, you know, like you said, like little Snapchat videos, like yeah, obviously just like get a screen recording or some shit in there versus like Ableton recording it. I've always been weary is how you LFO sync in. I mean, yeah, you use OBS. That's like perfect. It's just genius. Dope. Pre-drop vocals. Man, I just find them off of Splice, really. I found out like most of the shit off of Splice. But you have to dig like crazy to find that shit. Yeah, it's not the most convenient thing. I've also gotten like a lot of vocal samples from like finding like hip hop acapellas and really changing it up. So chopping it up, which is not, you know, obviously not the most surefire way, but like if you can chop shit up. What's a good tip about reaching out to bigger artists to get your music played out by them? First of all, I don't even think it's like about reaching out to them. When it's like the most natural way is just like just putting your music online. If you fall into their hands, just like, and they fuck with you, just like right off the rip, that's like the best way. Like, obviously everyone's trying to reach out and you know, connect with people, but I think if they find your music first, that's always the best thing, for sure. Will I do a remix competition? Yeah, someday I will. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it. Maybe something from the EP or something. Who knows? How did I make the lead in FA? Same exact way that I made like a majority of these things. It's just like using the sub bass and then just like duplicating it, adding some different layers onto it. I believe that one's more of like a reduxy kind of thing. Just a little bit of that. Which you can also use like the erosion and then set it to the sine setting and you'll get the same exact effects. Doing one-on-one lessons, not right at the moment. Right now, trying to finish up this EP and make sure we lock everything in and it's 100 and really like creatively where I want it. How many tracks are usually in a session? So I do have a lot of tracks in a session, not that like they're doing a bunch of crazy things. It's just because I just like will have little random bits of audio here and there all over the place. So this one has like 135. A lot of my projects have usually between 100 and 150. But it's obviously, if I like break down the project, it's really not that crazy. It's a lot of just like duplicating and things just working in different frequency layers. Are we ever gonna get the Space Boss remix? I really did not make the Space Boss remix to ever release. Like, it was just meant for live shows. So yeah, probably not. Do you get mad when people rip songs from mixes? I mean, I don't really get mad. Like, unless they're like trying to like distribute it or anything. But like, I mean, I don't think that's like a way to get ahead, ripping people's songs and whatnot. Yes. Gonna dress up for Halloween? Man, don't know yet. Gotta see what's going on for Halloween. Got some stuff planned though. Yo, thank you guys so much for everything. I hope you guys had an absolutely awesome time, learned a lot. Yeah, definitely keep staying in tune with the Defier. These guys are doing some awesome stuff. I love all like the artist things. I've like been watching a lot of these myself. Just going back and watching some of them. Definitely caught some cool stuff. And yeah, got some new music coming out for you guys next month. Hope you guys enjoy. And other than that, thank you so much. And hope you guys have an amazing evening and stay safe out there. Be cool. Word. Good session.